My name is Dunn. I'm the Vice President and Managing Director of Compass Minerals in the UK and Chair of the EUsalt De-icing Working Group. With the European Commission's European Green Deal and the growing anti-salt movement in winter and road maintenance sector, members of the working group agreed to conduct a literature review and call on experts' knowledge to help demonstrate that in fact salt isn't the worst alternative for de-icing in terms of environmental impact. We therefore called upon the two following experts, Dr. Franz Götzfried, who is a chemist and chemical engineer and worked for many years in Südwestdeutsche Salzwerks groups in various management positions. Since 2006, he has been self-employed in salt research and consultancy with a focus on de-icer research, salt technology and market analysis. He is a member of the German Winter Maintenance Committee and project leader of European standardization projects for de-icers and brine production systems. Stéphanie Gaudé is a winter maintenance specialist at CERIMA, the French Centre for Study and Expertise on Risk, Environment, Mobility and Development. She has been working exclusively on winter maintenance for 15 years. Her missions are to assist infrastructure managers, particularly road managers and airports, providing expertise on particular phenomena, audit, training and research, and through the World Road Association, PIARC, as French-speaking secretary. The scope of this study involved a comprehensive search to assemble information about snow and ice control materials. The review included published information and current practices. The main object of the study was to determine the environmental impact of winter maintenance by looking at mobility and safety through winter road maintenance, production routes for salt, quality of salt, storage and logistics of salt, the consumption and performance of salt compared with other inorganic and organic de-icers, as well as abrasives, environmental impacts of de-icers and abrasives, winter service and the circular economy, and strategies and technologies to optimise the use of salt. The report will be a good way to collaborate with authorities responsible for de-icing on the roads. The first question I'd like to ask is that in the report, you make an analysis of the different winter de-icing solutions based on cost, performance and relative environmental impact. Could you please take us through the conclusion of this analysis?
Yes, if someone are looking for a substitute for salt, the first products found are from the family of inorganic products as calcium chloride or magnesium chloride and so on. They are more effective at low temperatures, but they are more expensive too. With them, more chloride are released into the environment because of their chemical formulations. There is also the risk of slipperiness due to the viscosity of the solutions. Calcium chloride is classified as hazardous substance. However, solution of calcium and magnesium chloride may be used as pre-rating agents for salt. A large part of road effluents with products with chloride is collected, but these products are soluble and cannot be treated by retention basins. Research is currently underway to test halophyte plants for desalination of this road runoff water. In the market, it is also possible to find organic de-icer as acetate or formate, solid or liquid. They are usually used on airport areas and they are more expensive. Even if some are promoted as biodegradable, their main disadvantage is the oxygen consumption required during further degradations that can asphyxiate the surrounding environment. Their degradation requires treatment in wastewater facilities like in airport areas. We can also find abrasives that are aggregates and not de-icers. They are aimed at restoring grip to an icy or snow-covered road surface. So they are only used for curative treatment on roads with low service levels or for environmental considerations. They are less expensive, but spreading rates are much higher than for salts. Sweeping is also necessary to prevent clogging sewerage networks, slippage as on shipping roads, or the production of fine dust that can increase the PM10 pollution during winter months. This raises the questions of the energy consumption of abrasive practices. In conclusion, all product spreads have impacts that depend on the nature of the product. When choosing chemical de-icing agents, it is important to consider all these aspects: cost, performance, environmental impact, and match them to the need of road managers.
Thank you very much, Stéphanie. Franz, in your conclusions, you state that sodium chloride has the best eco-efficiency and highest availability, and therefore is the #1 de-icer for roads. Could you tell us some more about how you came to this conclusion, please?
Yeah, the effects of salt on the environment are among the best studied because it is the most widely used de-icer. It has effects on soils, increasing concentration of sodium in soil, which can result in nutrient deficiencies in certain soil types. Sodium can also enhance the release of heavy metals from roadside soils if present. The saline polluting pressure can lead to a loss of biodiversity in aquatic ecosystems or cause significant symptoms on roadside trees. In contrast, major groundwater reservoirs remain insensitive to possible salt contamination because of their volume and flow rate. De-icers with high conductivity, like salt, may affect metals such as steel and zinc. Correct material selection and corrosion protection means that corrosion damage in vehicles and road infrastructure is no longer a big issue today. With salt, only an extremely small impact on a road infrastructure built with concrete is to be expected if it complies with the current concrete and construction standards. The issue of environmental impact must consider the product life cycle. The fossil energy consumption to manufacture sodium chloride is lower than for other de-icers because it is from natural resources and not a synthetic material. All produced salt types with a quality according to the European standard EN 16811 Part 1 are suitable for application as de-icing salt, rock salt, evaporated salt, and solar salt. The safe supply throughout Europe with de-icing salt is guaranteed by the existing high production capacities and logistics concepts. Salt is suitable for preventive and curative treatments. It is effective up to a temperature of -15 and low spreading rates are possible. The environmental impact is low and acceptable. It is the de-icer with the best availability and lowest costs.
Thank you, Franz. Also, your study recommends that further efforts to minimize and optimize salt consumption and use. How do you suggest this optimization process could be achieved?
The statistics of the last decades show that the salt consumption for winter maintenance in European countries like France and Germany has not increased to the same extent as the traffic on the roads and the length and areas of the roads. The aim is to continue to decouple the consumption of de-icing salt from the increasing development of passenger and freight traffic in Europe, as well as from the increasing road lengths and paved road areas. At the same time, traffic accidents caused by slippery roads are to be further reduced. There are several ways to optimize the amount of salt spread. The first level to protect the environment is to optimize the quantities of salt spread by plowing first, calibration of spreaders, and application of recommended spreading rates. Second, use of modern techniques like pavement temperature controlled spreading, road weather information systems, and GPS help to apply the required salt amount. And reduce service levels for low traffic roads and encourage the use of winter tires. One of the most effective technologies for saving salt while providing excellent winter services is the application of brine alone, called direct brine application, instead of application of crystallized salt alone or in combination with brine. The brine technology can be used when temperatures are not lower than -10 and only when there is little precipitation. It requires brine from the market or production at winter service facilities with brine production systems and mobile equipment for brine spraying. Direct brine application is becoming increasingly interesting because of the rise in temperature caused by climate change. The review shows that most of the European regions with winter temperatures below zero introduced already the technology with brine application.
Thank you, Franz. Stéphanie, how do you expect climate change to impact road maintenance?
We have no certainty, but climate change models predict in the more or less short term an increase in average winter temperatures and therefore a change in winter phenomena. For example, temperatures will be more frequent close to 0 degrees and we will have more icy conditions, such as in Quebec or in Northern Europe. For Southern Europe, winter phenomena should become less frequent and therefore salt consumption will be reduced. For Central Europe, such as France, with a moderate climate, when we have an event more rigorous than the previous ones, the first reflex is to spread more salt, but the practices come back quickly adapted to the event. More frequent, intense and localized phenomena are expected. In general, world managers tend to switch to a crisis organizations rather than increasing their capacity to manage current situations. In terms of impact of salt consumption, peaks are likely to be expected. Climate change will also certainly modify our behaviors, for example, soft mobility. If we zoom in on urban managers, the tendency is to organize themselves to treat different roadways, such as bicycle paths. I think that the urban sector will strongly change its practices in the near future with dedicated materials and increased use of brine.
Thank you very much, Stéphanie. That concludes the interview and presentation today. I'd like to thank you both very much for the work that you've done on this research and the presentation today. We'll now go back to the EUsalt conference where there will be a live question and answer session with both experts. Thank you very much.